Start off by saying, welcome to Push for Love, where positivity and inspiration thrives. I'm your host, Sister Kimmery, and we are thrilled to embark on this journey with you as we explore uplifting stories, share valuable insights, and discover the power of positivity in our lives. Together, we will celebrate the small victories, embrace life's challenges and resilience, and uncover the limitless potential within each of us. Push for Love is a nonprofit organization that focus and celebrate parents with special needs children and caregivers emotionally and financially. I've started the nonprofit organization because I have a son with special needs. He has cerebral palsy, and I know the challenges that I go through. So I wanted to share or get something, start something that other caregivers, we can come together and celebrate ourselves and just come up with some solutions of how we can maintain ourselves and our health. So also Push for Love have started retreats. We'll be doing a boat retreat coming up, what is it, July the 20th? Yes, July 20th. And as caregivers, we have to step away. Sometimes that's a challenge with us to step away from taking care of the people that we love so much. So, however, I want to introduce to you today. Her name is Annette Brown, and she's a caregiver. And I met Annette through someone else, and she actually lives in Florida, and she came up to Florida to one of my retreats here. And I'm so glad she did, and I think she's happy. She was happy that she came as well. So, with that said, Annette, please introduce yourself and please tell us your story, and if you could talk about how we met as well.
Okay, good morning. I am excited to be here. I was able to meet you by the way of telephone. I think we were over a FaceTime. So we talked, I think the first conversation we talked for about 30 minutes on somebody else's FaceTime.
That's right.
And we just connected and bonded over the things that we have in common, taking care of our loved ones. In my case, it is my brother. Um, and I did fly up to DC to attend one of the Push for Loves, and I attend to fly up for more and bring other people from Florida. And I am eager to even have you to fly down to Florida and put on an event here in Florida
Yes.
for Push for Love, because I think that it is really needed for us to have community together with people that understand the struggle. And when I say struggle, it's not in a negative way, but it is a struggle to take care of someone with disability, because sometimes you have to let go of who you are so that you can take care of them and then circle back around and take care of you later. But it is a must to take care of you as well. And I've learned that along the journey. So, yeah, I take care of a brother. He is 62 years old. My brother
Mm.
has been with me for 26 years consistently. He has lived with me for 26 years. As we reach the elderly age, it becomes harder for myself, and I'm sure it's hard for him to have his sister take care of him. And so that puts the strain on both of us. I can only imagine the strain that's on him. He is verbal and he does communicate and he is high functioning, but because he's autistic, he doesn't communicate or express himself at a higher level that I do, or someone else who would quote unquote be called normal. So, but the struggle is real. The love is real, because if I didn't love and care for my brother, there's no way that I could have done this for 26 years. And if you can imagine, 26 years ago, there was no programs.
Right, right.
These- There was no programs, there was no funding. Social Security was so limited. I told someone, I remember 26 years ago, the Social Security income voucher check was $500.
Right.
And you know, I look back now, I say, how did we survive? adding a
Mm-hmm.
member to my family when I had two young kids and I was a single mom, and to add another family member, and the only income you would add would be $500. But
Right.
we as caregivers are resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
We figure out a way. We have enough love that we can just, I mean, serve it with love and make it look good, make it look easy, just because of the love that God has departed within us to care for others.
Right.
Um,
Let me
but
ask you a question. What is what what is his diagnosis? I know you did say gnosis. You said that he had autism. Is it any
mhm.
other thing that is going on outside of autism? Is it
so
any
you so you do know that autism is a new word. 26
right?
years ago, I wasn't told that my brother was autistic. I was told that my brother was RT. We used to call it RT, the retardation.
Oh, okay.
26 years ago. That's
Okay.
what they were labeled as.
Right.
And so
Okay.
my brother has his diagnosis in his file as RT. But most recently, maybe within the last 4 years, Orange County here in Florida has asked me to have my brother re-diagnosed. So now he's diagnosed with autistic, and he was born deaf, so he's deaf and hard of hearing, but the state of Florida has declared that he's a deaf man.
Okay.
So because he was born in 1962,
Okay.
was it? He doesn't know sign language.
Okay.
That wasn't privy to the Black community back then.
Mm.
And he doesn't know sign language, but he reads lips really well.
Okay.
So that is a mechanism that Bruce knows how to use. My brother's name is Bruce. Bruce knows how to use that against me, I would say, but to benefit him, to
But
benefit
you know
him.
what? That's the thing with some of them. They use their, I call it a gift because some of us can't even read lips.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's how God works. He one thing might be taken away, but he enhanced another sense, right?
yeah, yeah.
Another
And
senses. And the fact that he can read, we can't, I mean, we don't pick it up like that. So that's such a
that's right.
blessing, honestly. So yes, yes, ma'am.
And when I say he used it against me in some sense, it's like he'll say, "Oh, I didn't hear you." Like if I say, "Bruce, didn't we talk about that?" "Oh, I
Wait
didn't
a
hear you."
minute.
Yeah, he'll use that as his benefit. To always remind me that, "Oh, I didn't hear you." I'm like, "Bruce, we talked about it. We had a conversation in depth." He said, "Oh, I didn't hear you." And I'm like, "I didn't hear." So he
Oh,
knows how to, use his
yeah,
handicaps, his ability, and plus one.
right.
But to think about, yes, Bruce does read lips, and he does read lips really well.
Wow.
But remember, we just came out of pandemic where we covered up our nose and mouths.
Right.
So with nose and mouth
Now, speak on that. And the reason why I was just talking to a brother, and he has three children that are autistic. They have three in the household, and he spoke about during the pandemic and how it affect autistic children.
it did. It affected
Oh,
my artistic adult brother. It
in which
affected
way?
him because Bruce does read lips. That is his world of language. And when they
Mm,
took his world of language and covered it up, and he couldn't see anybody's lips, he became
wow.
depressed. When we're in
Mm,
the grocery store, he felt left out. He
mm-hmm.
felt like his world was closing in. My brother did not describe these feelings to me, but being with me at that time, 24 years, I could read my brother. I
Right.
could read that he was looking depressed. He
Mm,
wasn't moving the same. He wasn't,
mm-hmm.
his body language was different.
I was going to
His
say body language. Yeah.
mhm. His action and his response was different. So I just began to watch him and pick up on him becoming depressed.
Okay.
So during the pandemic, he began to spiral downhill. He began to tell me he's starting to hear voices. He's starting to hear
Oh,
voices in his head because I would imagine that he was imagining people talking, and this is what he had to kind of focus on. He
mhm.
wears two hearing aids, so he has some hearing, And I think the voices began to just crowd him out in his head because he was trying to live in a world of voices and not read lips anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothered my brother so bad that I had to do something about it. And, I think I'm the sister with the S on my chest. So
That's
put to-
right.
I put together a community parade to
Oh,
come down my street and have a parade on his birthday during the
oh,
pandemic.
isn't that something?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
that was so
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, so I reached out to the local municipality of the police department and the fire department, and they agreed to come with sirens blazing and lead the parade. So I put it out in some groups that I'm a part of and asked them if they were free to come do a birthday parade. And they made signs and banners for Bruce. Some people was walking in the parade with banners and whistles and blowing and hats. It was just amazing. And it
Oh, that's
made
beautiful.
my brother so happy.
Yes.
So happy. I had never seen the reaction that my brother had. Because most times autistic people, they don't show emotions either sad or happy. They
Mm,
just stay right in the middle of the road. But
mm.
this day he was way over to the happy side. He laughed. Tears was coming out of his
That's
eyes.
all
And the parade knew, everybody in the parade knew Bruce, but they knew that they had never seen him like that. So the
right.
fire department, who was the first people in the parade, said, let's go around and come back again. And so they went around and they came back again. And Bruce was just, oh my God, that
Isn't
made my
that
brother.
something? Isn't that something when you see them so happy, how
Mhm.
it makes you feel?
Yeah, it did. It really made me
Yeah.
feel like I know my brother. It
Yeah,
made me feel like I know what he needs, and then it reassured me that I am what's best for my brother,
that's right.
because so many times I often say people may think that I am Bruce's only sibling. I am not.
Mm-hmm.
There's six of us. Well, five
Hmm.
with one being deceased. But
Right.
there's five of us. I am not his only sibling.
Right.
Why is it that I'm the only person in his life? And people may begin to think that because they only see Bruce with me.
Right.
But during that parade, it reassured me why Bruce is with me, because
Mm-hmm.
I am the best person for Bruce.
That's right. That's
And
right.
that accompanied with that and 24 years at that time, I'm just pushing for love, girl. That's all
I
I can
know
do.
that's right. I know. But you know what? Let me say this in that when you came up to the retreat, and I was so happy that you did, and you told your story. You stood up and told your story. And I know you were, emotional, which is understandable. I get emotional. Most people that stand up and tell their story,
Hmm.
getting it because it is one of those situations. And you said in your story, you said, you know, I need a life,
Hmm.
and you was
Hmm.
like, I came here to cut the cord and things. And so,
Yeah.
and I think, you know what, you needed to say that, you needed to express that, you needed to
Hmm.
get this out, regardless that he's been with you. And he, like you just said, you realize that he is the best, you're the best person that he
Hmm.
need to be with, you
That's
know?
right.
But however, we go through these ups and
Oh
downs,
my
the
God,
roller
girl.
coaster of emotions as caregivers. You feel this, you feel that. You up one day,
Hmm.
you down the
Hmm.
next, and
Hmm.
sometimes you just ride it right there in the middle. And
Most
it's
definitely.
all okay.
Yeah.
It's all okay. And so to hear you say this,
Hmm.
you realize and you see, and you probably always knew, but it's just a part of the struggle. The struggle is real. And I don't want us to shy away from saying that it
That's right.
is what it is. This is
But
the reality of what we do now. The answer, or I'm going to say the answer, but what I'm striving to do with Push for Love is to come to bring us together and have fun, certain tools
hmm.
and things
Hmm.
that for us to, be celebrated and look at. We can talk about certain things. We can have speakers to really give us words of wisdom so that we can feel empowered, focus
That's
on
right.
our health, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because if our health is not the way it should be, or at least part, because some of us stress brings, certain illnesses on. And I'm
That's
kind of
true.
going through some of that myself now. And I do understand when God kind of have you to be in the front of something, he do allow you to go through certain things so you could figure out the solution. Now you can present it to those people that are going through the same thing. Here's the solution. Here's the answer to the health thing. I'm starting to become more and more in contact with other not holistic, but I would say more people that heal your body on a more natural level. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I've always been that in the first place. I will go and I would travel the earth to find or to experience something new that is more natural healing, because I'm not about taking a whole bunch of pills, running to the doctors all the time, because we don't have to. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have to,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to introduce this more to our community. I say it that way, to our community, because once you do, you'd be surprised how wonderful you feel. And I know
Right.
when I'm not tired and things like that, I could go in there and I can handle Jabril with a whole different attitude. So I just wanted to kind of say that. And I'm so glad that you just spoke and said that you realized that. So good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
go ahead
mean,
and continue your story.
I definitely realized during the pandemic that I was the best thing for Bruce. But that doesn't take away, just like you said, the other emotions that come along with
That's right.
taking care of a disabled brother. When I came to DC, I was ready to cut the cord, and it was an act of cutting the cord symbolically for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still stand on that it was time for me to cut the cord because Bruce isn't my child, but I have responded to Bruce as though he's my child with serving meals, prepping for a bath, prepping for a shower. Bruce doesn't need all of that from me. That's too much.
Right.
Bruce is high functioning, and I was only handicapping him to keep the umbilical cord tied to me.
So what have you done different since then for
Bruce
that?
now, Bruce
Mm-hmm.
now has to learn, and this is very uncomfortable for him, and it
Mm-hmm.
is a struggle for him, but I must do what's best for me. So
Right.
Bruce has to now ask for things that he needs. Simple
Okay.
thing. He has to ask for it. He has to
Right.
have communication skills and say, "Hey, I ran out of soap for the shower. Can I get some more soap?"
Mm-hmm.
Sure. He has to communicate. The first 20 years I gave Bruce. I hand Bruce everything. He didn't have to ask for nothing. That restricted communication between Bruce and me. If he's not asking me for anything or depending on me, and I'm just giving, it created a handicapped man to
Mm-hmm.
think that he was the higher power in the house.
Mm.
And
Okay.
it created a world for a handicapped man to think. And sometimes some words that I say, I only feel comfortable saying it in a community that understands what I'm saying.
Right.
So if I sound a little hesitant now, it's because we often are judged by the things that we say by people who are not in the arena. You're
Right.
not. You're not in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
But that behavior that I lend to Bruce
Mm-hmm.
made Bruce think that he was privy to everything in my house,
Okay.
every space, and that is not true. You
That's
are not privy to my bedroom. You are not privy to my closet. You are not privy to things that I purchased, especially for me.
mm-hmm.
No. Bruce had I had frustrated me by giving Bruce everything and creating a world for Bruce that he was the hierarchy here in the home.
Okay.
I had to cut that by saying, nope, we're going to communicate here. When you need something, let me know and we'll go get it. When you want to do something, let me know. And if it's best for me and you, we'll do it. Bruce is a high functioning man with a job. I
Okay.
needed to I needed to cut that apron string. Sure, it made him tumble and fall down and feel like, oh my God, oh, you're not just giving it to me anymore. Oh my God, oh, it's not in my room already. Oh, when the milk gets really low in the kitchen, oh, another carton of milk just don't appear. No, it doesn't. If you want it, you let me know. I'll take you to the store and you can purchase your own milk. I don't drink milk.
Right.
I had to cut the apron string. It was killing me serving him to that capacity, and it wasn't serving me. I didn't have a life. I shared in DC that for the last almost 10 years, I haven't been on a date.
Oh,
For the
yeah.
last 10 years, I haven't had conversation with another human of the opposite sex in a romantic way.
Right.
That is depriving me of
Yes,
life.
ma'am.
And that is what I meant when I said I had to cut the apron string. Have I started talking and dating yet? No, I haven't.
I was
I
going to ask
haven't.
that question.
I haven't, but I'm working on me because with mental health in this household, mental health is very important for Bruce.
That's
And I've
right.
learned that it's important for me.
Right.
So going through that long period, now I'm working on my psyche. I'm working on my mental health. I'm working on me, just me meditating more, yoga more, yoni steaming more, just
Good.
foot massages
That's
more.
right.
I am focusing on me. There's some hard lines that I had to draw in the sand between me and my brother. That is not my husband.
That's right. Yep.
But if you say that in a quote normal community, they tend to say, oh, that was mean. It
But it's
was,
not.
but they tend to say that.
That's the
Because,
truth.
because that's right, because they don't understand my truth. They don't understand our truth as a community of people that's taking care of a family member, a child with a disability. This is a hard bargain right here.
It
And I'm
is.
going to be open with you and say to your audience that 26 years ago, if someone would have told me that this is going to get harder and harder, I don't think I would have took this on.
Mm.
I
Okay.
don't think so. Because as my brother gets older, he steps back further as a child and
Okay.
he needs direction more. And with the way I have screwed up by giving him everything, you know, like a parent give a child everything, everything. Now child
Mm-hmm.
grows up and it's just a spoiled brat. That is what
Yeah.
I'm dealing with in a grown man. I'm gonna be open and transparent and say, I messed up. I messed up trying to make sure that he was happy and I didn't focus on the whole household holistically being happy. I just focused on Bruce being happy. That left me unhappy. So
Yeah.
now that I am trying to turn the coin on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce is not as happy as he's been because he
Okay.
doesn't have things his way anymore. He doesn't have things at his beck and call anymore. He's not allowed to just walk in my pantry. And someone would say, why would you deprive him of a wash rag? You know why, honey buns? Because Bruce take his razor when he shave and clean his razor with my wash rags, and that cuts up my wash rags.
Right.
So yes, he has to
But
ask me.
and that's really in any household. If you're living with, let's just say what I'm striving to do now is to have my mother is me,
Mhm.
Jabril. Jabril has the cerebral palsy, so he have equipment. And then I have my God willing, my mother and my older son. Now, if
Mhm.
all of us in the household, you can't just be, everybody have their own stuff. I'm not going to just go into my mother's stuff. My
That's
son
right.
can't just come into and get my stuff. You have to
That's right.
ask. You have to ask.
That's
Even
right.
if it's we sharing the refrigerator, and I buy certain things for me, you can, because you like it, you can't just go and get it.
Of
You got
course
to
not.
come and ask me. So it's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it's a challenge because after all this time, he's learning something. It's like, oh, I can't do that anymore of what I used to
Mm-hmm.
do. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? He's going to be just fine. It's just, you're just in the process of changing some stuff. That's what life is. The love is there, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. He
Right.
has to leave. He's going to adjust, And that's
Hmm.
with anything in life. When a change come about, it's something you've been doing for so long, and then you have to change that
That's
at
right.
the beginning of it, it becomes a little uncomfortable. That's just how it goes. But
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, it becomes the new norm.
Yes. I love it. But when we, the caregivers, talk to
Hmm.
people who are not caregivers, Kimmy,
Yeah,
these people are very critical towards us, very judgmental towards us, and
right.
they give to me, they give very bad advice. You know why?
Okay.
Because you haven't been in these shoes. You haven't walked a mile in these moccasins, and the advice that you're giving me, they don't fit my shoe size.
That's right.
And what I've learned over the years, I don't even listen to people anymore. I don't
Right.
try to stop them from talking. I block them out while they're talking. I let them talk and I block them out because people will always tell you, "Oh, don't do that to him." Well, when he come to my house, he can do that. Then we won't be coming to your house. You
Hmm.
will not be you will not be creating a world for my brother to spin out of control when he gets back to my house. And then you're home relaxing, and I'm in my house with this disabled man that you just screwed up because you won't play by my rules.
Right.
I
And they
no
have to
longer.
kind of respect that. They really need
Mhm,
to just trust what you're
mhm,
doing. And you've had him all this time and has done a wonderful job. Regardless of what you say that you messed up. But I kind of always look at, when we say we messed up or we made a mistake, okay, made a mistake, but a mistake also, and I was just reading something
mhm.
about a mistake. A mistake is that's the opportunity to take a look at some things and
Yes,
to improve.
yes.
So it's like, okay, that's how we learn. That's how our life get better if you're focused that way and understand instead of coming down on ourselves and say, wow, okay, it might have been, I don't think things just happen just because and things
Mhm,
like that for however long it was for you and Bruce.
mhm,
And you said you messed up all these years by doing this.
mhm. I
Now he's at
did.
a point, I think everything just happens in its proper time. Now he got,
Honey,
I don't think it's going to take that long for him to adjust. You know what I mean?
how long has it been since I've been from DC?
That was like last year.
He still hasn't gotten it. And
That's all right. But how many
I'm still
years have
and
you
I'm
started
still
that?
yep, and I'm still working on it. And
That's only 1 year.
I'm not gonna back up, and I'm
That's
still
right.
working on it.
That's right.
I'm gonna remind you of something, Kimmy, and
Okay.
I just want to remind you. We're both from old school, right? So
Yes.
do you remember back in the day when our parents used to say, "Hey, Annette, come grab me a glass of water and bring it to me."
Right.
And we used to go in the kitchen, get our favorite glass because we know which one is her favorite, know
Right.
how much ice to put in it, and we know how much liquid, water, juice, whatever to put in and bring it to her, right? Even if she
Yes.
wanted a napkin around the glass, we knew that because
Mm.
the parent had taught us that. Or when the parents used to say, "Hey, Annette, come in here and hand me the remote control." And we used to say, "The remote control's right there."
Right.
Right there. And she's like, "I know, hand it to me." That was to me, those things was preparing us to appreciate our parents, to serve our parents, because one
Mhm.
day we were going to have to take care of our parents. So
Yeah.
now we're already prompted and we already know what they like to take care of them. Now back
Yes.
up.
Mhm.
Bruce has been with me 26 years. I've never asked this man to bring me a glass of water. I've never asked this man to hand me anything. So he doesn't know that I am important. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know the importance of a net. I'm
Right.
a realist. I'm a keep it real type of person. And
Right.
I'm gonna tell Annette what the same thing I would tell somebody else. You messed up, love. And
Mhm.
it's okay that you messed up because you did the best that you knew. You only know what you know.
Right.
I had never taken care of nobody with a disability before. I handicapped him by not teaching him how to serve this household.
Right.
And when you don't allow your children to grow up and learn how to serve this household, they become spoiled brats. They go out
Mhm.
into the world and they expect the same thing. So
Right.
I've done that with my brother. So I am trying to rewind that. I cut
Mm-hmm.
the apron, cut the umbilical cord, and
Mm-hmm.
rewind and teach him something different. That has been a really hard challenge. Really, really hard. When I came to DC, wasn't the first time that I decided that I was going to do that, but I'll decide it. I'll march forward for 6 months, and then I'll let him have his way again. I'll
Okay.
do it again. I'll march forward for 3 months, and I'll let him have his way again. This time, honey buns, we're not. We're not. We're keeping on keeping on. We got some footprints in the sand, and then we just have to pray our way through it because I'm not letting up. I want my own life outside of Bruce. Even if it's like this morning, he vacuumed the inside of the car out outside. I stayed inside. Normally, I'll stay out there with him. No, Bruce, don't do it. No, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going on and vacuum that car out. And I'm gonna stay inside and clean up after breakfast because I no longer work outside of the home anymore. I'm home with Bruce all the time.
Right.
And that's one of the hardest things too to be a caregiver when you're always home.
Yeah.
It's
So
been
what,
tough.
but you know what, listening to you, you're doing it, and I'm so proud of you
Thank you.
for just putting your foot down and keeping it down, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because see, that's love too.
Yeah.
See, that's love. And I know at the beginning, like you said, you've never done this before. I've never done it. I had two other children before Jabril.
Mm-hmm.
Never. The only thing I can say as far as that may have prepared me was I did see my mother. Um, I did see my mom take care of my sister, my younger sister. She had, I don't know what it's called, but it's some kind of hernia or something where she was born with her intestines and stuff was on the outside of her
Mm-hmm.
stomach, right? Of her
Mm-hmm.
body. And she had to go into surgery right after birth. Okay.
Wow.
Yes. And she had several surgeries from an infant into her teenage years, getting skin grafts, having stuff being pushed back in and having the mesh thing. I mean, all that kind of stuff. But I remember when my mother brought Erica home,
Mm-hmm.
she had a feeding tube. And I had to kind of take care of Erica a little bit, but I watched my mother because it's like, okay, well, she would show us how to feed Erica through the tube. And that's the first
Mm-hmm.
time I saw anything like this. Not knowing
Mm-hmm.
Annette years later that I was going to be pretty much in the same situation. So
Wow.
I was able to reflect back and watch my mother go to work, go to the doctors, go to, with Erica, take the surgery she had to do, and still had to maintain a house. She was a single mother.
Right.
I had to kind of like kick into because I was like the oldest child in the household. So
Mm-hmm.
certain things was on me, like making sure, watching them as they got older and stuff, cooking dinner while my mother worked a second job or however. But as far as that part is concerned, I remember having to hold um the feeding tube with the syringe and was giving her bolus feeding. And she was like, be careful, showing us how to do it because it could come out and we have to learn how to put it back in. And some people get real squeamish about stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a hole
Mm-hmm.
outside and you got to stick a tube. I had to go through that with Jabril when he came out of the hospital because he was premature, and I had to put a feeding tube down his nose into his throat. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, when I had to learn that, and then you see the child, closing their eyes and kind of gagging a little bit, but you had to keep going, keep going. You can't stop in the middle of that, you know?
Right.
And then they're stopped once they get past a certain point. That right there, that's what I had to fall on when I saw my mother go through that with my sister Erica. And now I'm in that situation. Jabril does have a little Mickey tube.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was still new. It was still new. And I again, I had to like not worry about myself because here it is, a child, my child
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything for himself. My heart just went all for him. It was just all for him. So I do understand what you're saying. When you don't know, you don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning still along the way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning every single day. I
Yeah.
gotta like think for him. It's like, okay, if it was him, like put myself on his side. I gotta learn how to shave him. I gotta cut his
Mm-hmm.
hair, you know,
Mm-hmm.
shave his beard. What do I use to kind of keep his skin nice and keep the bumps? I don't have to do that. My other two boys, they took care of that on themselves, they
Right.
been here in the
Right.
household. So now I gotta think about it,
Yeah.
So it's all new with every phase of their life. Now I gotta think about what I need to do when he turned a teenager. And
Mm-hmm.
now he's a young adult, he's 29. And it is a challenge. It's new. So I'm learning all the time. But we're like Mama Bear.
Mm-hmm.
I protect him, but at the same time, I do understand what you're saying though, Annette, about um making sure, because what I do sometimes, Jabril be trying to explain what he want. I'll finish the sentence for him instead of letting him. To me, I'm like, I don't want him to struggle, you know? So I'll end up finishing it for him because I kind
Mm-hmm.
of know what he's talking about.
Right.
And I was like, I had to stop myself and say, Kim, no, let him, you know,
Finish is gone.
finish
It's
it out.
finished.
Yes, don't
Yeah.
finish it for him. So I understand, and that, that's just how we are. That's the love that we have, regardless if you might say, hey, I messed up. Okay, okay. But guess
Yeah.
what? We still living,
Yeah.
you know. God
Yeah.
has given this to us, and now we are learned. Now we can correct it, and that's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce gonna be just fine. He's doing, and then you know what? When it's all said and done, when he do adjust, I can see this. He gonna be even happy that now because he gonna feel more independent.
You think
I think so. Well, you know what?
he's gonna feel more independent with asking me for everything?
Well, because yeah, when I
Because
and
he
I,
has to now. He has to.
this yeah, because see, before it's like, like anybody else, when you had to go and just go and ask, was like, can I have this? Can I have that? Although before you were just giving, it's a different type of appreciation
Yeah.
where you can
Yeah.
come, you know what I'm saying, and say, can
Yeah.
I go do this or can I go do that? I know it, this is what I'm seeing from it because every human being,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if we know it or not, that is a form of independence a little bit there because
Mm-hmm.
if we just think about it, everything just handed to you, handed to you, handed
Yeah.
to you, right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we know what that feel like when we have to go and ask
Yeah.
and someone say yes.
I'm hoping
Like,
that it
okay, I can go get
creates,
it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm hoping that it creates gratitude for my
I hope
brother
so too. And that's why
because
this is what I'm seeing. Yes, go ahead.
I'm hoping that it creates gratitude for my brother because for 26 years, I don't think he's ever had to think about how grateful he is to have me. I don't
Yeah,
think he's ever had to contemplate what's going to happen to me if my sister is gone. He's never
yeah,
had to contemplate that. And that is what I'm hoping that his world turns into gratitude. I just want
right.
to see a little gratitude.
Yeah.
And
But
that will make me so happy.
I think what you're doing is headed in that direction.
I
And
hope
I
so.
know it may not seem that way. And sometimes we really don't
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
exactly. But I
Hmm.
think the steps that you're taking is taking him in that direction.
Hmm.
And sometimes I think even when by doing it, it could be little subtle adjust what I want to say, how you just drop a little seed and
Hmm.
stuff. Just be
Hmm.
talking in general and just say and kind of use yourself as an example how grateful you were with so and so that took care
Hmm.
of because this is how it affected me. It's just dropping these little seeds probably with him. So as you do this change, those things that you're saying, and we sometimes we gotta be a little skillful,
Hmm.
kind of
Of
prick
course.
their conscience to, their
Hmm.
mind and be like, oh, okay, but maybe now I'm just saying, I need to be a little more, because who else been here? You know, he's intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So just little seeds, just in general, just say a little
Yes.
something and drop it
Yes.
and leave it alone. Because when you get to talking, they can kind of
Oh yeah.
detect that, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Drop a little something and leave it alone and go on about your day.
Mm-hmm. And
And then
not
another
focus
time,
on
drop
that
it.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so many times I focused on that something, just kept focusing on it, talk, focusing. No, just learn how to
mm-mm.
drop it, let it go, and
Let it
move
go.
on. That way I can have a life. I don't have a life because I was so contingent upon focusing on the little things all day. No, just drop it, let it go,
That's right.
let it go. He'll
Let it
get
go.
it.
That's right. Because as parents, and because we love, and as mothers, I should say, we can do that. We will drive, we will drive something into the
Yeah,
ground
I've
because I
definitely
feel
done
like
that.
you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing
Yes,
me. And what's happening? They're really not hearing you because they turn their ear off. They turn
yes,
that deaf ear. It's like I do not want to. She just say this all the time. You drop something and leave it alone, and you come back and drop it and leave it alone, it's like the mind picks it up and then it comes up when in its proper time.
that's right.
Yeah. So these are little things that I'm learning too. You know, it and everyone's situation is a little different based on the child's or the adult child that you're taking care of, their situation.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel with cerebral palsy, you know, it's different because like Bruce, he's up mobile, be able to do stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
different. Jabril, I gotta do everything. Everybody gotta do everything. I got to put him up, put him in the chair, take him out. I said, Jabril, you want to go for a walk? He said, yeah. He's in a wheelchair or a stroller. And so now I'm pushing him, if he's in his stroller, I'm pushing him around the block or wherever. Now I can walk, you know. And so when I get tired, Jabril ain't tired. What did he do?
Yeah.
He's sitting there chilling. He's enjoying the sun, the breeze, and everything. He's like, yeah, let's do one more time. Here's three
Yeah.
rounds, and I'm tired at the second round. Or we go to the
Yeah.
Rio. He's ready. He ain't ready. He's chilling. So when he have his power chair, I let him use like you do it. Then and he wants to do it because it's like, but I have to watch him to make sure he don't run off the curb and things like that, you know. But then
Mm-hmm.
he's doing the work. But at the same time, when he gets tired, he let it go and he just stopped. And I just let we gonna rest. But I let him get a little exercise, but I pump him up, be like, okay, this is your exercise. You building your muscles by pushing your hand down. So he loved wrestling, he loved working out. So I use that so he can push himself a little more to
Yeah.
want to go head on and you know, guide him, you know, push himself or guide him out himself out here in the with the power chair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just certain things we have to do a little, you know, be skillful so to motivate them. That's
Yeah.
all, you know. And I think you are again, you're doing such a wonderful job. I'm like so proud of you and I'm so glad that I I met you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
I know you're down there doing other things out there in the community. Can you speak on
Mm-hmm.
that too? What are some of the other things for yourself that you're doing?
So I've had Bruce 26 years, but about 20 years ago, I began to advocate for my community.
Okay.
Originally, I'm from the city called Fort Pierce. It's here in Florida. Fort
Okay.
Pierce is predominantly a Black community, Black and Brown community.
Mm-hmm.
And it in those communities, we so often experience a lot of drugs, violence, crime, dilapidated, overgrown, food deserts, and all of that exists in the community that I come from. So it just put a hunger in me to advocate for the people in the community. So I began advocating for domestic violence, just poverty, alleviating poverty, food deserts, just things that deal with the Black and Brown communities and our concerns that we don't have enough whistleblowers.
Okay.
I've I've even been to DC to speak in the House about some of these issues. So I
Okay.
try to stay busy outside of Bruce, and I try
Mhm.
to try to have a life And
Wow.
that is the life that I have created for me. So I attend a lot of meetings. I help a lot of people. I've worked on some campaigns for politicians. For the first time ever here in Orange County in Orlando, I've been with a campaign for, I was her campaign manager. And that was the first time that I had been a campaign manager. She didn't win the race here in Winter Garden, but it was a great experience for the both of us. So those are the things that when I step away from home or step away from Bruce, that I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's another service, and that just goes to show the kind of heart that you have. And you see why God gave you Bruce, because you're out there in the community, you care enough. You care enough for our people. And like you say, the different types of campaigns that
Hmm.
organizations that you've actually joined on to try to make a difference. Somebody has to be out there to kind of help us,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm so glad that you're doing it.
Yeah. I'm hoping that me being a champion for a different organization empowers the community and wherever I put my feet at, I really am. And a lot of times I use a lot of those things for outlets. I love them. They drive me, but I need an outlet, and that is a safe outlet for me to
Yes,
do those type of things. And safety first is always in the forefront of my mind.
of course.
Yeah.
That's good.
But what I do wish that
Mhm.
people would understand is that sometimes as a caregiver, and if
Okay.
I'm complaining or I'm venting or I'm sharing,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't need your opinion. I
Right.
just need you to listen. I just need
Yep.
you to allow me to use you at the moment for a sounding board. Sometimes I just need that. But so many times I get a lot of feedback, and it's not the feedback that serves me in a positive way.
Right.
So it makes me more depressed about what I'm doing. Sometimes I just need somebody to just listen, just to say, wow, okay, I understand. I don't, sometimes I don't need that,
Right.
but not often do we receive that. And that is the thing that I think would help if people would just allow themselves to be a sounding board. Because if I lend my story to you in a concerned way, or I want to share with you, maybe I feel like I trust you enough that I can say these things in front of you. And in
Right.
return, what I typically get is a bunch of judgment, a bunch
Mm.
of if I was you. Well, you're not me. You're
And
not.
if
So
they were you, they would
yeah.
probably do the same thing.
I just, I there's not enough support.
Yeah.
That's why I really poured out at Push for Love. That's why I was able to be so transparent at Push for Love, because I felt like I was in a room with people that would allow me to be transparent at Push for Love, to be open and honest at Push for Love, and to show my real feelings. Because so often I have to walk around with a smile on my face to say as if, yeah, everything's fine. But when will it be a room where I can break down and cry and say, I'm tired. I'm
Mhm.
human. I get tired. I, I'm I'm not unbreakable.
Right.
I get tired. And in that room that day, as I looked around and I saw so many different different colors of shirts, and I thought that was beautiful that you had so many different color shirts. And I started visually connecting with people that had on a black shirt, because I had on a black shirt. So
Yeah.
visually, I started connecting with the people who had on a black shirt. And I just started watching them and wanted to take a group picture with everybody with a black shirt on, because I just feel like, we are a family. And then we are even deeper now because we all chose a black shirt. And I just felt like that was a safe space for me. I felt like my vulnerability will be safe in that space. And we need that. We need to be in front of people that understand. We need to be in front of people that can lift us up. And you know what? People in that room didn't say much to me. They just hugged me.
That's right.
Because sometimes I don't need nobody to pour verbal with verbiage into me. I need you to
Right.
pour love.
That's
I need
right.
you to pour love, push for love. And that is what I received that day. I received so much on that day
Mm-hmm.
that I received so much on that day. That day I received so much. When I tell you that was one of the most meaningful, powerful, respectful, impactful. I needed it. I didn't know I needed it so much, but I knew I needed it, but I didn't know I needed it. So I didn't know it was going to be detrimental to my
Right.
psyche. It was
Wow.
detrimental for my psyche
Yeah.
that I flew up and I turned around and came home in less than 48 hours
Right.
because I knew I needed it.
Right.
I knew I had to take a step away from Bruce
Yeah.
and get on a plane, park my car and get on a plane and just go and
Right.
just get an experience. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I got everything that I needed from
Praise God.
people, from the place. The ambiance was beautiful, the food was delicious, the energy in the room was like came with solidarity. The
Mm-hmm.
olive branch that was extended with love. And it was everything I needed. It really was. And I just want to say to you, thank you for having a vision to want to, give love and pour into people that take care of people with disabilities. I can remember I asked you over the phone because your conversation was children with disabilities. Oh, parents that taking care of their children. And I said, well, Kimmy, what about me? And you was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not a parent. And you was like, you're right. I'm including you too in that, but I need to change my verbiage, huh? Yeah. I'm not a parent.
Right.
That's my brother. And you was like, thank you for sharing that and bringing that up. I'm not a parent, but I am a sister and I love my brother and I'm his caregiver 24 hours a day for 26 years.
Right.
And I
Oh,
just thank you so much for
I thank
including me.
you.
You have
Yeah.
included me and you've wrapped me into this push for love.
Yes.
And I just it's amazing to me and I want to introduce it to other people that I know that take care of their brothers. And I
Mm-hmm.
know some people that just take care of people because they love people with non-relations to them.
Right. Yeah.
And they're adults that they're taking care of adults with disabilities. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that this organization will be transforming for them in their lives to be around people that understand and that can relate and that can walk in solidarity together. That is
It
powerful
is. It's very
because
powerful.
it's not a lot of it out here.
Yeah.
It's not, especially in our black and brown communities now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
But I want to thank you though for sharing that because, and that's why each time we have the Push for Love retreats, and I have someone there taking pictures and actually doing little interviews with some of the guests that come because
Mhm.
I want people, as I post them up and we have these, I want people to hear for themselves the people that came there, the caregivers, their experience and how they felt about it, what they experienced. I want to hear, because I know what I feel and I know what my intentions are and what I'm doing it for, but to hear it from the caregivers that come and say this was however they feel and experience, that makes me feel good, like you expressing that, and that's what this is all about because I know as caregivers, as parents, and that's why I changed, I said caregivers, because it's all the
Mhm.
same as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
It's really all the same, it's just the words that we use. But you are a parent, you his brother, I mean you're his sister, but you're his guardian, all the same as far as I'm concerned,
Mhm.
it's all the same,
Mhm.
because that's who he look at, who he depend on. So, but I thank you for sharing that, and it makes I could get a little emotional behind it because this is something I really believe that God has put on my heart, because I've always been seeking to do, I want to give back to the community. I want to give back to this world something of
Mhm.
good. What are we here for? To just suck up the air? It's like, what is your gifts and talents? What is your purpose?
That's
All of
right.
those things I wanted to know. I want to give back, do something good where God is proud of me. And
Mhm.
I had no idea what it was going to be, but I know that was in my heart and that was a desire of mine. And then here it is. It took my son to be born
Mhm.
to come up with Push for Love. And now I always ask God, guide me. What do you want? What should I be focusing on? And what comes to me is health. And I hope to see you in a couple of months, July 20th. At
Okay.
this one, I think that it's like once you get here and see this right here, everyone they're still going to get a gift bag like I always do. But
Mhm.
at the same time, ain't no speaking. Just enjoy, embrace each other. We can dance, we can eat, socialize, and enjoy being out on the water, you know, and
Sounds
everything.
good. I'm excited. Sounds good.
Okay, so I want to thank you so much, Annette, for saying yes to this interview. And
Okay.
until next time, push for love like you always do. I love you, and I hope to see you July 20th.
Ashe, thanks for having me.
Yes. All right. Love you, and we'll talk
Love you
soon.
back. Okay.
Bye-bye. To support Push for Love, please go to my website, pushforlovegives.com, to make donations and to support by purchasing any of the apparel. Also, my email address is pushforloveinc@gmail.com. Pushforloveinc@gmail.com. Thank you.